Hey, paisanos!
My name's Jeff.
What kind of nonsense is this?
Guess what?
It's showtime.
Who's responsible for this?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my underground lair.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
I ought to beat your brains in. I think I will.
What's good, baby? Welcome to the show. It's me, Zach. Today I don't have Charles, my co-host, but that's alright. I've got a special guest lined up for us today. Welcome to episode 14. This is a special episode where we're going to be talking to RJ from Critical Blast, and we're going to kind of get to know him, get to know about Critical Blast, and what this means for both obscured cartoons and obscured gaming, as well with the collaboration of Critical Blast. RJ, how you doing today?
I am doing well, man. How are you doing?
Man, I can't complain. I just got done doing a live stream, and that was a pretty good turnout.
Excellent. Yeah, live streaming is it's a challenge because there's no editing. Whatever you say is out there forever.
Exactly. It's definitely a challenge. I was sitting there as I was going through. I was like, man, this is so different. Like with a recording, I can plan out a script and do fast cuts and edit, but not this way. I gotta try to be entertaining, or at least, not boring throughout most of this. And that was a bit of a challenge, but it turned out really well.
I know some people who run it sort of like a DJ does at a radio station. They've got their soundboard there. They've got the quick edit buttons like function keys. So they'll say something, then they'll hit a button, and it'll be like a sound effect or a quote from somebody else.
Yeah, I'd like to get that set up. I've seen some streamers use soundboards, and I'd like to get something like that set up eventually. I haven't done too many live streams. That was kind of my first stream in quite a while.
We do a live stream every night, sometimes 2 on a weekend, and then sometimes we get crazy. Like I did a couple of months back on a Saturday, we did Podcast Palooza, and I ran for 12 hours straight with 12 one-hour shows back to back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was fun.
A lot.
I had 12 different interviews going, so.
Dang. Well, I guess before we continue, why don't you go ahead and tell people a little bit about yourself, about Critical Blast, where they can find it and everything, and then we'll just kind of take it from there.
Well, I am RJ Carter. I'm the senior managing editor at criticalblast.com, where pop culture gets blasted. I'm also the author on the Destroyer series at the moment, the Remo Williams adventures that have been going on since 1971. So that would include books number 151, Forward with Bully Pulpit, Continental Divide, and Monumental Terror. So still going strong with that one, just trying to get a few more manuscripts out to the publisher. We run criticalblast.com as a pop culture news, reviews, opinion piece. And we try to cover everything that has to do with anything that has to do with entertainment, whether it's movies, books, music, gaming, if anybody's ears need to perk up at that, celebrity news, comics, a lot of comics. And that's what we do most of our live streams with every night on the Critical Blast YouTube channel. We interview a lot of comic book crowdfunders, so we devote an hour every night to a different crowdfunder. Sometimes we have brand new people. Sometimes we have people who are old hats at this. So, we had Mike Barron on just a few nights ago talking about one of his projects. Tonight we're going to have the bi-weekly LCS Guys show. And our special guest there is going to be Howard Chaykin, who's, famous for American Flag and a few other things that he's done. And then every once in a while we deviate. Like once every 2 months, I will have a film producer and cast and crew on to talk about some new independent movie, or we'll talk with some paranormal folk about UFO sightings and tracking that information. That was a really hot topic back in June when we were expecting the entire Congress to say, yep, they exist, and here's where they come from, and here's what their names are, and they've got a house rented down on Main Street, and this town in this state. That didn't quite pull out, but it's fun, and that's the whole point of it.
Yeah,
enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah, I remember checking out the site. When I first checked out the site, I was like, man, there's so much that is being covered on this site, like a lot. And I showed it to my recent collaborators now, and they looked at it and they're like, "Man, I feel like I'm a small fry compared to Critical Blast. Like, are you sure they're gonna be okay with us?" I was like, "Yeah, trust me, trust me. If you got something to throw into the pot, they're gonna be happy to accept it."
We're not a big fish. We are a school of really small fish that are fish shaped. So yeah, there's nothing big about us. It's a bunch of little guys doing their thing.
Just enjoying it, yeah.
And the staff comes and goes. I mean, COVID hit us real hard. It was just one of those things where people's daytime jobs sort of went away. And when your daytime job goes away, you're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the hobby side of things. You're going to eat. So we took a hit with that. We're coming back now. Our movie reviewers are back in business. Some of our book writers are coming back around. And yeah, when I say book writers, one of the many things that falls under the Critical Blast umbrella, obviously we do have the website, which is news and reviews. We do have the YouTube channel, which is interviews and live streams. But we are also a book publisher. Critical Blast Publishing is an imprint that falls under that umbrella design. So we have 3 books out under that. We have Gods and Services, which came out 3 years ago, which was an anthology of fantasy tales, all involving the little pop-up shop that comes out of nowhere, and the proprietor, he sells you things, and these things come with a god, an old god who's out of service. And we watch the impact on people's lives. Second anthology we did just last year, which was The Devil You Know. 20 stories on that one. We had a huge turnout and had to trim it down to just 20 stories about people's encounters with the devil. And it runs the gamut from horror to comedy to science fiction to old world fantasy. Just a whole run of different flavors of stories there, and people are really enjoying that one. We're getting good reviews. And we've also done a full-length novel. Stephen Mitchell is the author of Bulletproof, which is the story of a 16-year-old boy who wakes up one day to find out that he is bulletproof, hence the name. And since he lives in a world where superheroes are a real thing, he decides to become one. The problem is that young Cody has the attention span of a ferret on pixie sticks. So he needs his friends to help him stay focused. He's got real ADD issues, and aside from being bulletproof, he's not unkillable. If he's not paying attention, he can drown, or he can suffocate, that kind of stuff. So, and there's a group of terrorists that are after him because they want the formula that made him bulletproof, something his father injected into him at a very young age when he was just a baby that waited dormant in his genes until he was 16, and then took effect.
Man.
And we're waiting Bulletproof book to launch real soon here, so it's a trilogy.
I need to check that. I remember hearing about Bulletproof, and I was gonna check that out. I just never got around to it.
It's available in hardcover, softcover, and ebook, so you have your options there.
I need to get back into comics. I've been just working on covers for some. I've got like 4 stories in mind that I want to do. I just can't decide which one to start first.
Yeah, well, these weren't even comics. We haven't done a graphic novel yet. That would be a challenge that I would love to take up, because we would crowdfund it, and then we would publish it ourselves.
Well, I mean, if I finish a comic, I'll send it your way. See what you think. I've got one comic right now that I'm working on. It's a revamp of an old story that I made back in... I can't remember. I submitted it to a publisher called Slave Labor Graphics.
I remember Slave Labor, yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't take it, but I mean, they were nice with their criticism. They said, it's you put a lot of detail and work into it, but it's not really what we're looking for at the time, and it's just, we feel like you're still kind of inspired by other writers, which I was. And so I took the concept of the character and completely changed it around, and I was like, you know what? What if I give him a whole new universe? Like a whole new story, not the same story, just change his universe around in his character and see what he's like. And I've been really fixated and interested with this new universe story that I'm working on.
You can never over-edit your first book, but once it's out there, leave it alone. Don't have multiple versions of issue 1 and never get issue 2 out there. You know what I mean? I've seen people do that.
This one is it is self-published on Lulu.com, but I've took it down just because it's one of those books that's like I'm not exactly proud of. Just kind of like after I left Game Jab, I was like, I'm just gonna completely rebrand myself and start over and like redo, take some familiar concepts but kind of revamp it, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Is just rebranding and taking like old characters that I made back in the day when I was a kid and giving them a much more modern update story of what they would, because every comic book character I've ever created, they live in my head forever. Their stories go on. And so it's like, what would they be like today if I wrote a story about them? What would their stories be?
Yeah, and with crowdfunding now being as prevalent as it is, it's just the game's changed. It's a whole new paradigm out there. And everybody gets in on it. If you've got something that works, you'll sell it. If you have something that doesn't work, the audience will tell you. But there's no editor that's ever going to come out, or no publisher, rather, that's going to say, yeah, this isn't for us. Come back in a few. They're not going to gatekeep you out of the industry or tell you that there are no opportunities or no openings. You're your own publisher. You can do what you want.
Right. Oh, I just noticed that Billy is here listening. He's actually one of my collaborators. I'm going to see if he wants to hop in and chat with you.
Jump on in, Billy.
Let me invite Billy here, see if he hops in. Billy's got his own YouTube channel called The Wired Rabbit. If anybody out there is listening, go check out this channel. He does a lot of really great content. His last 3 videos had me in it. And I'm actually editing another one of his videos now. But hey, Billy, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, how you been?
Oh, I've been good. I just got done doing a live stream, and it was a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, Zach here is mentioning kind of who I am. I do YouTube stuff, and I've been working with Zach a little bit more frequently these days.
Excellent. Yeah, we were just talking about our YouTube channel and our website and book publishing. And getting ready to move on to the next thing that we do too, because we talked about all these crowdfunders that we work with, who do the comics, and one of the many things that I've got that makes me absolutely no money, Zach and Billy, is I spend other people's money really well. I'll be on these crowdfunds, and I'll see a piece of artwork and I'll say, That artwork right there, you should cut around that, turn it into a die cut sticker, and make that your next stretch goal. Or hey, this 3D picture you got here, you've already got it 3D. Why don't you just give it to somebody with a printer and sell action figures, and that kind of thing. And I got to talking with a lot of the international folk, people who are producing comics in the UK, producing comics in Australia. And the drawback is they're making great comics, but the shipping is exorbitantly priced to get a book from overseas to the U.S. that they can't sell. And the U.S. is the largest comics buying market outside of Japan, of course, but they're only buying manga there. They don't want to. So I had a solution in mind, and I started to give it to him, and then I realized, no, I think I'm just going to keep my mouth shut on this one and do it myself, which was how Critical Blast Logistics came into being. It's our most recent company, where we consult on crowdfunding. We'll run a crowdfunder from top to bottom for folks who are in like Brazil, where they can't access Indiegogo or Kickstarter because it's illegal in their country. For whatever reason, it's a banking law or something. They're watching out for the money laundering, so we'll host it here. But
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and for the shipping, we have we're drop shipping. We're having people work with us before they launch their campaign. We run all the numbers and tell them, here's what we can ship this for, this is what you should list it for, and you'll maximize your sales. And it's working. We've got, Lee Byron Carver is doing The Company Men out of Australia, and he went through our service. We worked out the shipping, and he's able to ship that book from Australia for $12 instead of $28. So, it's and nice. He's sold over 250 copies of it because of that. So we're just waiting for that shipment to arrive so we can start boxing it up and sending it domestically. He just sends them all here in one box, because it's a lot cheaper to send 100 books in one box than it is to send 100 books in 100 boxes.
Right?
Yep,
And we just
absolutely.
break it apart and redistribute it.
Man, that's crazy. I didn't know you guys did all that. That shows you how long it's been since I've kept up with Critical Blast.
We're into everything. As soon as I find something else we can do, we'll do that. But right now, I think we've got everything covered.
Wow, I think we should move on to another topic here. Then, I guess we could talk about kind of stuff that we would like to cover on our channel, versus and what we could bring to the plate for Critical Blast.
Yeah.
And so I was talking with Billy for me and him have been kind of talking about it for a while, and I know Billy's pretty much open to do reviews on pretty much anything that you can give him, but I know that normally how it would work, you would send me stuff through email. I don't know which email it was that you have, but I may no longer be using that email.
That's probable.
But I know that I've got a lot of collaborators who are interested in doing review content and having it on Critical Blast.
Well, we have a lot of things to review. I mean, gosh, if I'm just looking around the, I say office, that's a vainglorious term for this place I'm sitting in right now. But if I look at things that I'm still going through to review for myself because I can't pawn them off, I'm looking at, the Blu-ray for Profile from Warner Brothers. I've got the 2-movie collection of A Quiet Place, which is on Blu-ray. I've got the Indiana Jones 4-movie collection on Blu-ray here that I haven't even taken the shrink wrap off of this one yet. So, yeah, we get stuff. And, we get notices in email that it's coming, or that, it's an offer, an opportunity. So what I would, do with people in the past who are on the team is I would forward the email and I said, who wants to do this? And then I would just have it shipped directly to them. And sometimes they still ship it to me, and then I've got to forward it, and it slows things down. But that's an option. We get PDFs of comic books from independent publishers. We don't get the DC and Marvel stuff because DC and Marvel don't like me too much. I tend to criticize their work. So, and we're not
let's be
shill.
honest. The independent stuff is where it's at anyway.
Yeah, we're not a shill media site where we're not like just pumping up. Hey, the next Superman's coming out. It's going to be the greatest thing. You've got to get 3 copies of it. And because of that, we don't get that stuff. We cover a lot of the Comicsgate movement, if you're familiar with that. And one of the first books I got to review from Comicsgate, I gave it like 3 stars. 3.5 stars possibly even, which is not bad out of 5 stars. I mean, it's better than medium. And the guy didn't like the review, and he did his own rebuttal on video. I thought that was kind of interesting. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess Comicsgate videos are out of the question to review. And then the very next within the week, somebody else, Von Klaus, hit me up and says, hey, I'm doing Monster MD. Would you like to review the 22-page intro that I've got ready to go here? I'm like, well, I don't know if you know this happened. He's like, yeah, I know it happened, and that's why I want you to do it, because if you give it a good review, I'll know you mean it. So we don't shill. We give we give honest reviews, and that way, when we say something's honestly good, they know that people trust us. Then that way,
right? It's better to have a non-biased true review rather than feeling like the big guys are dishing out money to support their brand.
Yeah, and it's
so
real easy to take a light approach to something you're reviewing, because you want the spice to flow. The spice must continue to flow, and if you piss them off, then you're worried that, well, they're going to quit sending me stuff to review, and that happens. But not so much. I mean, you have to pretty much hate everything before they shut you down.
Right. So I guess, Billy, since I got you here now, if you have any questions or things that you would like to let them know that you want to review, you can. This would be a great time for us to kind of talk that out and get that going.
I mean, I haven't thought about it too hard, but I don't know. I'm sure since this is coming from a collaborator, Zach here, I do tend to focus heavily in just the area of gaming and that sort of thing. I keep up with all the news, and I'm always on the hunt for just something to cover. So,
Well, interestingly enough, we have a gaming section which is woefully underfilled. I mean, Zach, when you put your first gaming video up there just a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you saw what they. Well, I guess they have been more recent because we do get some posts about online gaming. We're talking about like e-casinos and stuff like that. We get a lot of those come in, but as far as original gaming content and reviews of games, it's been a long time since we've had one of those up there.
I remember that for a while there it seemed like I was the only one who was posting gaming content when I was doing Game Jab, and I was looking through the gaming section again. I was like, well, time to get back to work. And
I've also mentioned this to Zach as well. I wouldn't mind, dipping my toes in other categories. I have decent enough recording equipment. I have decent audio gear. If it's down to a physical product, and then that's the other thing is I think it goes without saying, just kind of with the way I opened that, almost anything I do is going to be video content and video focused. That's kind of where
nothing
where
wrong
I've
with
had
that.
most.
Obviously, the website itself is a written word kind of thing, so we're looking for a lot of that. But Zach gets around that by doing the video, and then he takes the video and writes a paragraph about it, and then embeds the video underneath.
Yep.
So we get the.
That's usually pretty easy to do, because I mean, when you especially when you're doing something like a review, you got to make at least some kind of script to follow.
Yes, yeah, and that's why I write my reviews. But I've done a few video reviews. Most of my videos are interviews, and I don't nearly often enough, and I really should. I should follow up each interview by doing what Zach's doing, and just going out to the interview section of the website and saying, here we are. Whether it's interviewing a famous person or interviewing a first-time struggling indie guy just getting out there.
It's definitely a lot easier doing it by video, that's for sure. It's you can definitely use the editing tactics to really spice it up if there's ever like a dead moment during a review or an interview. Plus, it gives you more time to kind of like just focus on a script to because like if I was sitting there doing everything by written review, the main thing I'm gonna be focusing on is like my spell check. I'm like, okay, here we go. I know there's gonna be grammar Nazis out there. I'm gonna have to really pay attention to everything here, and that's why I started just posting videos rather than writing it out.
Oh yeah, you've got to you got to pay attention to the words. I hate posting something and then I'll read it out the next day on something, and all of a sudden reading it out, I'm like, oh god, I spelled that wrong there. But then on video, I'm like saying things like I smelled that wrong there just now. So you can't edit that. There's no fix. There's no backspace. Right. No backspace to my mouth.
But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what we can provide. The other thing I was wanting to get with you about is like with the podcast, what we're doing now. Usually we've the most we've done is we've had guests on. Like we've had Billy on for talking about his channel and the collaboration. We've had an OG Newgrounds /YouTuber /play animator who is one of my biggest inspirations. We had him on episode 3, and most times it's just guests on our Discord that come on as a special guest and just come on. But what I would really like to do to kind of help out with the Critical Blast through the podcast is if I could ever get with you guys to like maybe, I don't know, say if there's like a comic book artist that you guys want to interview, or a game developer that's like trying to promote a new game or whatever. I'd love to be able to see if I can get them on the show and post that up on Critical Blast.
Yeah, well, I mean, you just tell me who you're interested in having on, and then we'll make the email connections. That's how I got into this. I mean, I was invited to write reviews and post up some old interviews for thetrades.com, and this is going back to like 2002, possibly even before that. Yeah, early 2000s. And because they found out I had some interviews that I'd done for yet another site where I got paid, and the site went under. And I owned the interviews, and they're like, "Well, would you mind publishing them here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'd rather they live somewhere." And then I had access to the site, so they're like, "Yeah, do movie reviews, do television reviews." I would do movie reviews. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that the bigger movie review sites don't pay for their movies, which was what everybody was doing. They were just going to the theater on their own and then coming home and writing a review up on them. Like, I think there's a way around this. And he's like, "Well, if you can find out how to do it, go for it." I just started making phone calls, and it's amazing. Once you start just asking, you start getting. I told them, who the site was. I could hear them on the phone, tappity, 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 tappity. Like, "Oh yeah, it's right. It's right there." And before I knew it, I was in contact with the Little Rock promoters for movies, so I was getting passes to go down to the rave or wherever the movies were showing, usually at the rave. And then I would see the movie, 2 passes, see the movies for free, come home, write it up. I was like, well, this is working out swell. What about DVDs? So I started contacting Fox and Universal, and they put me in touch with their press agents. Wow, this is fun. I like to read. What about books? Got in touch with Simon & Schuster, got in touch with Scholastic, started getting early releases of books that were coming out. Like, this book will be coming out in October. I'm like, it's July. And then, of course, I get a box from Scholastic that says, "Do not open until, this date." I'm like, ooh, I wonder if they really mean that. So,
What's going to happen?
I opened it and I lifted the lid, and it was Harry Potter book 3. I was like, ooh.
Oh.
They really mean that one.
Even I can kind of attest to that, too. I have, like, my YouTube channel is super tiny, and my Twitch channel is even tinier, and also I don't really... also pretty inactive now. But even despite that, like, I've had, like, small indie developers, like, mid-stream be like, "Hey, you want to be a part of my mailing... like, our mailing list for future stuff we develop?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And yeah, like right now, me and Zach here have been kind of just going through a catalog of games I received from various developers to just cover the game in any which way.
Most of my game coverage has been not about the games themselves, but sometimes about the players or the developers. Because we get into if it's news coverage and everyone's talking about it, and then we'll cover it some way, shape, or form. Sometimes it's in the way of an opinion rather than in actual news, which is fine as long as we're not defaming anybody. You can do that. But we do need people to cover the talk with the developers, find out about what's going on in games. There's so much going on right now with games being changed, games being what's the word I'm looking for? Not really about.
I've honestly been looking for an excuse to just, sit down and just share my thoughts about so many gaming-related topics, and I guess internet-related topics in general. I'm a big nerd.
Yeah. So what do you think about things like they did with The Last of Us, where they first of all desexualized the female character and then showed her having sex?
Oh, I think that whole... I think that's just kind of like the cherry on top. I feel like The Last of Us 2 had so many more issues than just that. I feel like a lot of people, like before the game was out, the whole plot got released online and leaked.
Yeah.
And it upset people because they had invested so much in The Last of Us Part 1, and they were hoping for The Last of Us Part 2 to have to be as strong have as strong of a narrative as the previous game, and just didn't happen. And you could tell by a lot of the whole desexualization and it just came off as insincere pandering to a lot of the fans, and I feel like that was a real betrayal for him.
Yeah, it's in video games, it's in comic books, it's in films. It's this pandering to a group of people who present themselves as fans that don't buy the product.
It's honestly it's I think it's just a matter of overly relying on focus testing.
Yeah.
They kind of just like polish it until there's nothing left, and then they release it to everyone, and everyone is just so like lukewarm about it because it's got no personality anymore.
Yeah, and there's this whole, concern about things going woke, I think is the word that, obviously people are using for it now. And that just doesn't sell. I mean, comic books especially, and I know video games are doing the same thing. It's like they chase a new audience. I don't think businesses know how to chase a new audience without leaving their old audience behind.
I think it's honestly a lot of panicking, because you see this, like they have like this long stretch of stagnation. They're like, we got to do something, and they basically betray the audience that they've spent years building up because it's not keeping them afloat. But they, instead of trying to find a way to introduce new people into their old audience, they completely turn a blind eye to their old audience, and they try to find the new shiny audience.
Yes,
I think that's the source of a lot of problems in entertainment right now.
And that audience just really isn't there, at least not in quantities enough to replace and supersede the audience they had.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or they don't realize it until it's too late, but then they start competing with other types of content too.
Yeah, I mean, and again, the gaming content we've got, I want somebody who knows what's going on in the industry to a greater degree than I do. I think the last gaming article I wrote, as far as being a news opportunity, was an opinion piece on the suicide of Alex Haloka, for which I basically blamed Zoe Quinn because she was doing online bullying of him. So that's not exactly gaming news, but it was pop culture news. I don't mind if somebody wants to write that kind of stuff, but I need somebody who says, "Hey, Square Enix is coming out with this, and it's going to run really cool on this server because it's got this kind of technology on it." And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but gamers do.
Oh, when it comes to talking like gamer geek, I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah, I mean, I got left behind in the days of it runs on the Quake engine, so that tells you how old I am with games.
Speaking of gaming news, has Critical Blast covered? I don't think y'all have. Have y'all covered the new world?
I guarantee you we haven't.
Oh man, I would do it, but I don't think my PC can handle it. Billy,
I could do it, and I kind of want to.
You should do it. You'll be the first one.
There's actually, I could honestly give you a list, like probably a comprehensive list of every game I would like to cover in the month of August. Like that's how like in anticipation of things I am.
If you do it, I'll definitely help put it together and edit it for you. Like make sure it's a team.
Yeah, I should also preface, like, a lot of my my productivity relies on this guy over here to do the editing for my videos, because I'm lazy as all get out.
Do you have the game, or are you getting the game?
I don't, and I wasn't, but I mean, that's the thing. Like, if I have a reason to do something, then I'm gonna lean heavy into it. I've been kind of like, I guess, a spectator when it comes to something like New World, because it's one of those things where it's like, if I'm just playing it for fun, I can't justify the purchase.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I get that. But the reason I ask is because here's the thing: we can reach out and try to get review copies of these kind of things and have them sent out early. Not like beta testing, but more like
Yeah.
for literal
No, I
reviews.
get you.
But it's easier if we have content already out there of recent things, which was sort of what kind of blew us in the past, Zach, when I was like, hey, we got game coverage. Look, they're doing Mario.
I 100% agree, because like for me, I'm not the wealthiest person. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, it costs so much.
It's trying to review the most current games is a pretty expensive hobby if you're not big enough to get noticed, I guess.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of a battle of like finding content that is just within my price range that will actually like get a little bit of people noticing my content out there.
Yeah,
That's definitely a struggle.
it is.
It really is. But
I'll say the one thing.
Sorry, I'll be quiet.
I was just gonna say real quick. The one thing that was really neat when we were doing Game Jab, RJ asked me to put together a top 10 video game countdown for Critical Blast, and it was when we were doing the bombshell thing, and it was they did a poll and had people vote for what was their favorite game of that year, and I believe it was I don't remember which Final Fantasy game it was that year that was number one.
I know it was Square Enix.
Yeah, and we put it out there, and then Square Enix, like, they noticed it, they shouted us out, and then they sent us a free copy of the game, which I thought was really cool. I was like, wow, this is really awesome. Like, they just gave us a free game to play on the channel and to review, in depth about it, and I don't think we really did that very well justice back then, but that's the other thing I liked about, whenever we were doing stuff like that, is like, even if you didn't have the game and you did like a top 10 and like the publisher notices it, I mean, that just shows right there that they'd be like, hey, we appreciate you, covering it and for the prize, and here's a free game, here's a free copy for you.
Yeah, well, we sent them a trophy, because now we've moved on to medals. I've got they look nicer, they ship cheaper, and they're created cheaper. So there's not like glass that can shatter on the way through the mailboxes. But yeah, we took the games off of our best of for every year because I just wasn't on top of the system anymore, and I just didn't know what was going on in games. I didn't have anybody to compile a list of what we should nominate as the best to let them vote on. Now we still do the bombshell. In fact, that reminds me, I've got to get August's bombshell article edited today, so it's ready to publish tomorrow, which is our cosplay feature. Every month we have a different cosplayer featured on our bombshell of the month, and then at the end of every year, when we're doing the best movie, the best book, the best comic, we take all 12 of the bombshell of the months, we throw them out there and say, okay, who's the bombshell of the year? And that's that's again another trophy, and yeah, you did the editing on the our bombshell of the year that year did a video acceptance of the trophy, which I think was the first one to do that.
Yeah, it was a Harry Potter cosplay, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and you kind of added some special effects to it that I didn't realize you had done that. I thought you'd like cleaned up the sound because it was like just a mess to hear, and so I didn't watch it. And then I was like, oh, she did a pretty good job on this. I didn't realize it was all you at the time.
Yep, that was all me.
Until she came out and said, wow, you really made that look good.
Well, I'm glad she was happy with it. That was kind of fun working on someone else's video other than my own. It's nice to branch out and test out your skills.
And we still, we still have it began a tradition. So almost all the bombshells now, except for one, and it was a COVID year, they've taken to doing the video acceptance thing. In fact, we even had one come live stream. The last one came and did a live stream interview to accept it. So that was easy. That was easy. Cool. No editing there.
Yeah, really, that's cool. But yeah, we would love to get the game section started back up again on Critical Blast, and I'll get with Billy and the rest of the team, and we'll since we're more focused into the gaming world, we could definitely help get that up and running again. And it's not going to be like in Game Jab days. I had a much smaller team. Basically, everybody just showed up and burped in front of the mic for a bit, and then I just did everything else. But I've got a much bigger team. Yeah, I've got a much bigger team of better people.
Well, here's the one thing that I do need to stress. I know we've talked a lot about, it's easy to do video reviews and stuff like that. We need written material. Even if you're doing a video review, we need, written material. 3 to 5 paragraphs, is decent enough. Because here's the thing, if you sit there and you do a video review of a title, and if you don't have 100,000 people following you on your video game channel, and you say, this game, it's got really tight movement. It's, the graphics are visually stunning. This is, probably the most fun game I played this year. None of that gets picked up by Google.
Right.
Written words get picked up by Google. So if you are typing that stuff to describe the game when you're reviewing it, and just, going through the, tell a little bit about the playability, tell a little bit about the graphics, however you want to break it down, and then show the video on top of that as an afterthought or as a supplemental, that's great, because now Google can read the article, and it gets picked up and it becomes a news story. We get trolled by Google News. Trolled? No, we get pulled by Google News. Sometimes they troll us over our ads.
Actually, this brings up an interesting topic that I think is worth bringing up at this point, because as you know, me and Zach are primarily video creators. I'm not sure how much you've been keeping up on YouTube itself, but these days, I'm already trying this myself, but YouTube, the way their search algorithm works is so in depth now that YouTube actually knows what you're saying for the most part.
Oh yeah,
with certain accuracy. It also can pick up on any text in the background or foreground of your video. And this is actually weighing heavier and heavier on YouTube search each month.
Yeah, I mean they can definitely translate the audio into text, and that helps the YouTube search. It doesn't get shown up on the Google you go to Google and there's a news section.
Yeah, I know. For a website, that's a lot less useful. I just thought it was it's an interesting topic, because it's just like,
oh yeah, because
it's kind of amazing
YouTube,
that. Sorry, yeah. What was that?
Yeah, if you search on YouTube for something like how to peel an onion, and you start a video about making hamburgers, and you're like, while we're doing this, let me show you how to peel an onion. Well, YouTube picks up the audio on that, and we're indexed. We're good to go with how to peel an onion.
It's just so interesting how indexing has gotten so elaborate for video content on the internet.
Yeah, and and it's all automated, and it's so real time that they will shut you down in the middle of a stream.
Oh yeah, like they straight up will copyright strike you before your video's even finished uploading.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who would they'd play music just to see how long it would take, like 30 seconds, and then we're using StreamYard, and they'd be like, okay, we've cut your stream, we'll restart it as soon as you stop using this copyrighted material. And I was like, there's no way that YouTube's got an army of watchers out there for every chance. Oh, turn them off. Okay, turn them back on. It's automated, and it's Skynet at that kind of a level.
Anyway, I kind of got us a little off topic here.
I guess what we could do is for whenever we do actually record the or submit it onto YouTube, to kind of help that out, if it's something that we're going to be posting on Critical Blast, to kind of help with Critical Blast, is I guess whoever, and we can put any collaborator, or I can collaborate with others, and we can work on the description for it, and it can be in the description, or we can just get together and just put it in the actual article of Critical Blast. That way, whatever's on YouTube stays in its YouTube format in the description, and then whatever is on Critical Blast has its own unique written out
the description part
bio.
Doesn't make it over to Critical Blast when you embed. So yeah, we definitely need written text, just like you've been doing. You'll notice that I've been moving your stuff around a little bit, because you put put in the video and then you put the text. Like, well, here's the thing. We put a graphic in the system, and it resides at the top left of an article. If you put a video first thing, it's not going to fit next to that graphic as it starts to wrap around it. So it's just going to go white space, white space, white space, hit past the graphic. Now we'll put the video up, and then the text follows. So I'm like, well, I'll just put the text first, and it'll wrap around, and then it's a more nice, concise fit to the article space.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll try to keep that in mind the next time I post a video up. It's been a while since that's like my second post I've made in almost a year now, and so I had it down to a T for quite a while. I guess I can always go back and look at my previous post that I made and kind of see like how I did it before. But I was like, I think this is how I did it. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Yeah, just don't. The thing I would say is don't talk about the video. Don't write about what the video is. Write about what the product is or what the game is.
Gotcha.
And then then just say, here's our, for more information, here's our video review. For more in-depth analysis, watch us play the game. And then embed the video.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the links to the channel and all the attenuated subscribe and share and all that stuff, that comes in the description of the video. That doesn't go in the article.
I should mention this. I do a lot with search engine optimization on my own time as well. So I do understand a lot of the requirements for.
Is search optimization a real thing anymore? Because I get a ton of offers from where say, "Hi, we have found your website and it is very interesting. However, we notice you have many problems with your search optimization." I'm like, really?
Oh, just ignore those people.
I know.
They're just fishing for whatever they can get,
which is money.
And yeah, it's always money. But I'm not here to make you an offer or anything. But one thing I was going to say is. I've done a lot of research in designing like YouTube videos specifically to kick the search engine optimization into gear. And it's actually like with YouTube videos, it's super easy, and I assume that with a direct kind of like carbon copy paste onto a text-based website would probably have a very, very similar outcome.
Yeah, it might. I have no idea. I mean, I look at the YouTube stats for us. It took me 2 years to get to get 1,500 subscribers, and it was like forever to get the 4,000 watch hours within a 12-month period. I have no idea how we achieved that finally. And I'll go look at the analytics now for Google. I'm like, yep, okay, I see that. I have no idea what that means. I don't know how to make anything. Don't know how to make anything better. Oh, look, we, had more watchers on this day. That's great. I can't, repeat what I did on that day because that was a special guest. Or I have noticed we have a peak every 2 weeks, and it's always on a Sunday. And I was like, what am I doing on Sunday, every other Sunday? Well, Sunday night we have, just a standard interview with somebody. And then Sunday afternoon, I do a Lego build stream with an overhead camera. And I was just like, I get a small Lego set and I start putting it together. Like, people are tuning in to watch me put together Lego. Okay, we'll continue doing that then.
How can you not like Legos? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I gotta get a good, I gotta get another webcam. And I know there's a lot of webcams out at, I look at Walmart and I look on Amazon, and they've all got this little like cantilever thing where it sits on top of your monitor or your laptop lid. It's like, I want one that's just like an iPhone, because I've got this armature clamped to the back of my desk that's made to hold an iPhone. It's got the little, open me up both directions here. And what I do is I start up a StreamYard, and then I invite myself to my own StreamYard. So I host it on my laptop. I join it on my phone as a secondary guest. And then I slip the phone into there and I aim it down at the desk. So it's like right on top of the work area. And I just, video myself doing the Legos. The thing is, it's an iPhone and not really just a webcam. And what that means is that iPhone and Apple products don't play well with StreamYard or streaming in general. And I think it's more a matter of Safari doesn't really like StreamYard that much. So I may go fine for a while, or I may go for 45 minutes and the phone get too hot and just log off, leave the stream, which is no good, if you're relying on it to show the product. So now I when I turn it on, I make sure that my fan is blowing directly at the phone, keep it cool. But we've had guests. We had Bill Willingham, who did Fables, on our show a couple of weeks back, and he couldn't stay on for more than 10 minutes because his Apple product kept logging him off.
Damn you, Apple.
Damn you, Apple.
Go ahead, Billy, jump in this. Come on, let's go. Come on, damn you, Apple.
Yeah, Apple. I don't have a very good experience with Apple either.
I don't either. I remember the first year doing a Let's Play channel with an Apple computer, and that was a nightmare. And then, what I hate about Apple is, you could... renting a license or anything that's Apple related, they're very specific on what you can and cannot put on their computer. And I had a buddy who used Final Cut, a version of Final Cut that he really liked, and then Apple basically forced him, said you cannot use this anymore unless you upgrade to the latest version of Final Cut. And he's paying for it, but yet they completely blocked the software now, so he cannot open up Final Cut and use the version that he's most comfortable with. It's just... Yeah,
well, that's like Windows, upgrading, things. Okay, nothing is going to work on Windows 7 anymore. You need Windows 10. and oh, by the way, nothing's going to work in Windows 10 the way it used to. You get used to a whole new user interface. I
feel like Macs are the type of thing for people who passed digital art but failed computer science.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it.
I had Windows, whatever came out before Vista.
XP?
I had XP, and it might have been Vista as well. But I had Windows, Movie Maker. And Movie Maker had this, you could put an add-on to it that did green screen, which was kind of cool because Windows Movie Maker was free. So you'd put up a green screen and then you could use it in the traditional green screen format. Well, then either Vista came out or 7 came out, whatever was the next version, and you pull up Windows Movie Maker and it's like, where do you add the green screen option? Oh, we took that away. It's like, so you made it better by giving it less flexibility. Yeah. Oh, fine. Okay. How do I do green screen now? You don't. You
don't.
You buy another product that will do that.
Yeah. It's
So now I'm very happy with StreamYard because I can do green screen. I just can't do green screen because I don't have enough light in this room to do it. I've got a green screen. I've tried it. It works great for the first 20 minutes, and then as the sun goes down and it gets dark, my lamp is not enough, so I start pixelating and sparkling, and suddenly there's this big green screen behind me.
Oh, lighting is always something. If I took a picture of my living room right now, which is kind of converted into an office, you'd see tripods with lights everywhere. You'd see a lamp. I have a VR setup in here right now, and that involves more tripods.
And the funny thing is I have a professional lighting kit that I bought like 2 years ago, and I wasn't doing videos 2 years ago, but my one of the writers was, and I was like, well, here, I'm just gonna have this shipped to you, and then you can use this and you get better videos out. And he still got it, but he hasn't been doing any writing or videos. I'm like, I'm going to ask you to send that back. And he said, yeah, no problem. Tell me where to ship it. Like, but right now I have like 2 inches between my desk and the wall, which is where I would have to put these lights. So I've got no space to put them. That's...
I'll tell you a really good lighting kit that you can get as like a temporary setup until you get a bigger space is, have you checked out those ring lights?
You talking about the bigger ones, I hope, because I've got one here that's about the size of a Campbell's soup can.
No. Yeah, definitely the bigger ones. These are cool because you can mount them on your tripod, and then mount your camera in between the ring light. I've got two of them, one for my webcam and one for my camera, my Canon that I use for animating. And holy crap, like that made a world of difference. I bought that and a really thin LED lamp that's like, it takes up hardly any space at all. And
I might try to find a thin lamp, but you have to understand my camera is my laptop.
Gotcha.
Like I said, that's my main one, and then the other camera I've got is my iPhone.
Well, they do come with a really small. They come with a very small tripod stand as well. They don't take up a whole lot of space, or you can even just kind of like, they're so thin you can actually prop them up against something and it'll work out just fine. And it's got like 3 different light settings. And
I think it would be pretty good sometime to just have a conversation about hardware with you when we're not doing doing a show.
Oh yeah. I probably got a little.
I think I like the ring lights. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I probably got a little off there, but I could talk about that all day.
Well, ring lights.
I mean,
are nice
if you
and
want,
flat, so.
if you want someone to review hardware for recording hardware for Critical Blast, like, I'm your guy. I could easily use more hardware.
Well, here's the thing. If you've looked at the front page of Critical Blast, I need a Drupal programmer. I just haven't been able to afford to hire a contractor because we have 15 categories, and not only we have a lot more categories than what show up on the front page, because I can't get the front page code to show the rest of those categories. It needs to be edited by a professional, and I'm not a Drupal guy. 30 years in IT, but I don't do Drupal or CSS or anything like that.
Oh, is this like your what you're using for like your web host, like what you're doing to put the site together?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But technology is one of the categories that we do cover. And if you look in the music section, you will find that Dennis Russo has done a number of reviews on things like turntables and phonograph needles. Just an entire article dedicated to a phonograph needle with I forget what kind of wood it was, but it was just because he's a music head. He's very, very deep into the sound quality that phonographs can produce. His stereo equipment is worth maybe $30,000. I don't know. It's an extremely expensive and delicate set. So he does a lot of the vinyl music reviews, but he also does a lot of the equipment reviews because he'll get his hands on it from his buddy who runs a store, and his friends say, "Hey, why don't you take this out and give it a spin?" So yeah, hardware is definitely something that is up for commentary. If it can be reviewed, I think the only thing we don't have a space to review is food, because what am I going to do? Like I'm going to get around town and visit the 3 good restaurants that are here, and then what?
Yeah, exactly.
I think I've already mentioned this to Zach. I think the one thing I will never want to review is novels.
We have a section for that, but nobody has to do that. It takes a long time to read a book.
That's exactly it, and I guarantee you, I get like a chapter in and probably be like, I don't want to do this no more.
Yeah, I know. Been there, done that. Especially if you're reviewing it, and it's like, oh, this is really bad.
Oh, you have to read and take notes. Oh.
Yeah, like this is a horrible book. I don't want to read this book, but I'm reviewing it, so I have to go through to the end now just to find out how bad it really is.
I have a crude way of it, like proclaiming doing something I don't want to do, and it really comes down to me looking at whatever it is and being like, I'm gonna have to suck this thing, aren't I?
Yep.
That, or you could take the easy way out and do an audio book or whatever, if it has an audio book version.
It's always an option.
But even then, I'll still get tired. I get so tired, even within the first chapter of reading, I start falling asleep. I'm like, well, this ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, get the Kindle version and then let your computer read it to you. Turn on the text-to-speech options.
Yeah. Well, this has been a good episode. I'm glad we had you on to talk about Critical Blast, and I'm excited to see what's going to come out of this in the future for the YouTube and the podcast and for Critical Blast, and just I know that my Billy and the other collaborators, they're extremely excited to see what they can throw in and
I mean, I was actually really excited that I could pop in here during the actual show. If
Man,
you could ask Zach, I never show up for these.
Yeah, he doesn't. He only showed up for one episode, and that was episode 10. But
that was the one I was actually meant to be in.
No, I'm glad you made it too, man. Like I was hoping you would show up because I know Charles is out of town and he's not going to be able to be available for a while. But I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad we were able to get some good discussion out on this episode.
Yeah, this is definitely like a topic that I've been really excited about the last couple of days. We've been talking about it.
Same.
Just to reiterate, if it's entertainment and you have some opinion about it, we have a place to put it.
Oh, we got things to talk about. We'll be putting it up. That's for sure.
I should. You don't want to test me on that, especially with the content I've been talking to Zach about the last little while here.
Oh my god!
We will not censor your opinion. We will not tell you it's not the opinion you can have. I have lost writers on the staff because
I will
my
guarantee you that if there is any part of my content you will want to censor, it isn't the opinion.
Oh well, now language is another thing. We do try to be journalism, So if you wouldn't see it in your paper, if it's a word that would not see print in your paper, we'd prefer not to use it. But sometimes, if you're quoting somebody accurately, you've got to do that too. Like Frances McDormand did her Oscar speech and said, we need to have writers in our contracts for making sure that we have representation. And I put out an article like, this is why this is a really bad idea, and I lost every female writer on the staff. And one of them wrote this really impassioned, moving email. I'm like, I don't take people's things down. I would really like it if you would take this, make it less of an email, and turn it into an article and publish it as a counterpoint because we want to cover both sides of things. But
yeah, I'm honestly in favor of if someone says something that other people don't like, then that is the reason it should be talked about instead of the reason it should be quieted down.
Yeah, we had that happen this week in comics too with Frank Miller. Just Google Frank Miller and Thought Bubble, you'll find out the whole story on that one. We talked about that tonight on the LCS Guys show, among with other things.
Well, I guess that's something for everybody to look to. Go to criticalblast.com, go to their YouTube channel. They do live streams. I actually caught one of their unboxing live streams not too long ago. So when you get done listening to this episode, check out Critical Blast. I mean, there's just about everything for anyone out there. If you're a nerd like us, you're gonna have a heyday with this website. No joke. But I want to thank you guys for showing up on the podcast. Thank you so much for showing up, and I hope we can do this again. This was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And Billy, thank you so much for joining as well.
Yeah, thanks for letting me in.
Oh, no problem. Until next time, everybody, ask yourself this. What's good, baby? Hey, thanks for listening to the show. What's Good Baby can be heard on Anchor FM, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and at our website at obscuredcartoons.com. Become a member on our Discord and join the fun and stay in touch with our community. Join the show as a special guest through the Discord and be heard. All links are provided in the description down below and on our website. Until next time, what's good, baby?